Alright, you lot, how's it going? So, I've been busy the last few days, well more than that, more than a couple of weeks. I haven't really been able to do anything to do with RC because I've just been busy with life. Just this morning, in fact, I was out having to finish off rescuing a car that had a full tank of petrol put in it instead of diesel. So normally I'd make 4 videos of that kind of thing, stick them on the other channel. Because I repair cars and engines and trimmers and motors and all kinds of stuff over there. But I didn't have any cameras with me, and to be honest I couldn't be bothered filming it. I just wanted to get the job done. But I did get a couple of little clips of it, sucking the fuel out and getting it going again. It actually runs better than it did before because the petrol can dissolve any soot and rubbish and goo in the lines on the pump and in the injectors. And it makes it run a lot better than it did before. It doesn't always go like that. Sometimes the diesel pumps, they stop pumping because they rely on diesel for lubrication, and petrol don't do that. Anyway, off topic. This appeared in the old PO box, and I thought to myself, I've got spare sort of 15 minutes, let's have a look at it. Now, I had a comment from someone. Apparently, I don't know what's in here yet, I haven't actually opened it, as you can see, but the story goes, the person who owns this said they've been trying to get it, I can't remember what it is, hopefully they've left a note telling me exactly what the problems are. Something to do with steering, and the other thing I can't remember. But I'm going to have to go over the whole car to try and find out, make sure everything's alright. And they said, can I get it going for them? And obviously send it back once it's done. So yeah, it's going to be a repair. We'll see what it's all about. Let's open it up and see what we've got, shall we? I don't even know what bloody car it is. I think it's a Savage 25, but we'll find out when I open it. Let's crack open this. Like I said, it did say in the comment they put he's going to send me a car. I'm sure he said it was a Savage 25, but we'll find out. I need to keep this box in order to send it back. Right. There's a note here, but he might have his phone number on it. So yeah, he's got his phone number on it. Brakes. And he did leave. Luckily, he did tell me what the problem is with it. So brakes, I'm assuming they don't work. Steering, that's obviously got an issue, and maybe tuned. So he obviously wants the engine to. Well, he wants me to give my version of a tune on it, I suppose. Then so runs all right as far as I'm concerned. Righto. There's the rest. There's more of the note, but I'm pretty sure his phone number's on there. So I'm not going to show that just yet until I've read it. Let's see what we've got. Yeah. So we've got a Savage 25 in here. We've got all the radio gear by the looks of it. He's packed it well, obviously, because he wants it to stay in good condition. The batteries and everything. Right. He's even got one of those chargers. Look. Oh dear, oh dear. Right. Anyway, let's get all this out, put it together, and see what we can do. Alright, so I've got it all out of the box. I thought the cover was missing, but it's not. The cover's there, so that's handy. We've got a battery in there, which is good. I don't know why that's not on. It's a bit strange, but we'll put all that on anyway. I've noticed that there's some pins. The pins were missing. That one's got that one in, luckily. That one's got it in. Right, we've all got. So that's the only missing pin. I found that in the bottom of the box. So that's that. Hopefully we've got one there. We're all missing the little drive hexes. But I'm hoping, because I haven't got any, so they're not there. That could be a bit of a problem because I haven't got any of these spare, so we've only got one. So there's a battery in there as well. That's a bit strange. So it looks like I'm going to have to buy some of these little hexes to put on here because I need to test this, and I can't do that unless I have some of these, unless I take some off of my Savage, but I'm assuming it must have had them. But there's a hole in the box. There's a hole in the corner of the box, so they've probably gone missing. That's alright, we'll sort. What a cock. I just sent him a message to say, oh man, where's the rest of these? And as I'm sitting there, I thought, oh, I remember they get stuck in here, didn't they? I turned it over, there they are, look. What happens is they twist, because these wheels are plastic and the hex things are metal, so they twist and they get stuck in there. That one hasn't. The others, they're all in there, look. So yeah. What happened to my Savage 21 was they twist, and then after they twist a bit, they then round off completely. Then you have to get new wheels. But anyway, let's put it together. Alright, so I've already noticed one quite large issue at the front. I'll show you in a minute. But let's get the wheels on, and we'll go from there. What a lot of people don't realise is the Savages, they're good really, because they have reverse wheel nut threads on the right and on the left hand side, which is good because it stops them coming loose. But a lot of people go to undo them and end up tightening them up and stripping them out because they don't realise. Right, get this to go in. We'll be good. There we go. The right hand side is normal thread, so it's right to do it up. Anyway, so I've noticed that you probably, well, you can't see, can you? You can't see a thing. There it is, look. I might move that down a little bit. We're missing the whole front bumper. It doesn't appear to be in the box, so that's missing, and that's a problem. And I'll tell you why that's a problem. Because we're missing all of that. You can't see, for goodness sake. We're missing all that, and the plastic bit. That's all missing. That bolt's bent. That's why the steering doesn't work, because we're missing a lot of the stuff there. Screws, the whole front bumper. We're missing. Oh no, the pin's in there. Good. We got a pin. That's good. Hinge pin. That's broken, but that's all right. So we need a whole bumper assembly. So it looks like I'm going to be trawling around on eBay trying to find a whole bumper, because really we need that. Without that we haven't got. Well, I suppose I could screw it on without a bumper, but it all depends how far he wants to go with it. He said he just wants it running in his little note, so I could screw that plate on the bottom there, and he'd just run without a bumper. If I can just screw the plate on, then that'll be all right. We'll see what he wants to do. So, got a whole bag of screws here. That must be for what holds that plastic on and everything. So let's see what we've got in the way of electric. We've got a battery here, high energy, 4.8 volt. It's only a 4.8 volt battery. Wonder why we've got a 4.8 volt battery in here. Someone's done a bit of soldering onto that switch. That's a bit strange. Wonder why they've done that. But if it's only 4.8 volts, it's not going to be much good at all. We need 6. It's not even that charged. 4 cell, 16%. Well, I suppose I could charge it up. I mean, obviously it has been working with it because it was in there and it's soldered in place, so it obviously has been working. So I'm going to stick this battery on charge, give this battery a charge up. It might not be any good, in which case I'll have to go and get a new battery for it. So we'll stick that in. I'll stick this on charge, and while this is charging, we'll see if the engine's going to run, and then we can then determine what we need. If we need any engine parts, I can already see we're going to need to get an air filter, because we've got no air filter. I can already see that the linkages for the brake and throttle are completely wrong. They're the right linkages, but they're set up wrong. But the main problem is the bumper at the moment. Yeah, the diffs all work. The diffs are all there. Right, let's get this on charge, and then we'll have a look. Right, so I've charged up the battery. The battery's good. It seems to work. The transmitter, I've noticed, has added. That's no good, but it works. So we'll leave that like that. Turn that on. We turn on we've got I'll show you in a minute, but the throttle and the brakes are set up completely wrong. They don't do anything. But the steering works, so the servo's good, but it just hasn't got enough oomph to turn it. That's because it's only a 4.8 volt battery. It needs to be a 6 volt battery really for these servos to work properly, but that's alright. We don't need that in order to test the engine. We can see whether that's going to run alright without doing any of that. So let's turn it round that way. For some reason someone's put a bit of pipe on the other bit of this tank. I don't know what that's all about. So that's on there, that's on there. We haven't got an air filter. I'll need to use my roto start because it didn't come with the roto start, so that'll go in there. Engine turns over okay, which is good. Let me get a battery in here. I think what we'll do is we'll see if it's going to run, and if it runs alright, we'll go from there. Hold on, I'm being called. Apparently I'm being missed indoors. Daddy, I miss you. Right. I haven't got any nitro. All I've got is a little drop of 25. I've got some 16 as well, but we'll stick a bit of 25 in here. Only a little bit, because I just wanted to see if it's going to run. I don't know if this has been running, if he's had it running. I don't know anything to do with it. So what we need to do is we need to evaluate. Is it going to run? How well is it going to run? It certainly primes. Let's see if we can get her to fire up. Stick that in there. Oh, you can't see a bloody dicky bird, can you? Oh dear, the perils, man. Right, here we go. Turn that down a little bit, because for some reason that's way too high. We certainly don't want it going that high, so let's turn that down. The old tick over screw was a bit too far in, so we'll turn that down there like that. That should be better. Because we've got dicky servos, the linkages are all out of whack. That's a bit weird. So anyway, let's try again. What I want it to do is I want it to tick over nicely. I want it to sit there and I want it to run. I want it to tick over nice. I don't want it to be revving up. Seems to run quite well. I don't think we're going to have any problems with that. So we just got to try and sort out the steering. It's obvious that the spline needs to be adjusted on the horn on the splines rather. Don't really know what that's all about. Someone's put a bit of fuel pipe in on a random piece of that tank for some reason. I'm assuming there's absolutely no need for that to be on there. I'm assuming they did that because they thought it looked good with a bit of a vent pipe coming down. Like on a real truck, a real monster truck or something, you have vent pipes, engine breathers, etc. all plopping down onto the ground. Anyway, there we go. We know that it runs. We know... Oh, by the way, that reminds me. I had a little chat with Jay, who's the bloke who owns this. he said he's got the bumper and he's got the bottom piece of plastic and all that assembly at home. He just didn't send it because he didn't think I'd need it. So that's fine. I haven't got to mess around putting one of those on. I should be able to get it running and driving without it. All I've got to do is screw this on. I just screw this down so that the diff will be exposed, but I'll just run it on concrete and I won't run it on any dirt, and he can sort that out when he gets it back. He just wants the steering sorted out and that, so I need to sort these screws out, I need to sort that out, and we'll get on with that. Nice one. Right, there we go. Happy days. Well, here we are now, a few days later. I can't really remember where we left off, to be honest. I think I just had a look at the steering, didn't I? Determined that it was the battery that's the problem, and also the horn needs to be put in a different place, but we'll work that out now. I'll use the servo tester and we'll put that in a neutral position and put the wheels in a straight line. I also noticed that this has got a reverse gearbox on it. It's got reverse on it. Don't know whether that's set up properly, but it ain't plugged into the receiver, so maybe that doesn't work. I don't know. We might better test that out. Let's have a look at the brake linkages. And well, once we've done the steering, we've only got the brakes to do. And then that's that. That is done. And then all we've got to do is give it a test. So let's have a look at this brake linkages and throttle linkage, and I'll show you what I mean. It's a bit dicky, to say the least. There's the reverse module. That's the servo for it. That's a little linkage. It goes up into there and then pulls that slide in and out to stuff it in forward or reverse. There's our battery, which is no good for this at all. Now look at this. Look at what's this all about? That's not set right at all. Might have to take the little pin out and move it round a bit so it's actually working properly. But for some reason the servo there is set all the way back, and when it's on tick over the brakes, but that shouldn't be like that. That should be more standing upwards. We might have to remove this little pin and turn it round. Let's have a look at it and see what we need to do. Right, if I plug this servo tester into this here, in fact it's awkward for me doing it this way around, but I'll do it this way around so you can see what I'm doing. Right, so then we need to adjust the throttle and we need to adjust the steering. I think they're all in the wrong place. So if we unplug, see number 3 is plugged in, I was mistaken, so that is the reverse servo on number 3. So if we get number 1, no, we want number 2. Bloody hell, some people just plug these in willy-nilly, didn't they? Right, and then we should get throttle. That's full throttle, and that's full brakes. We want that to be centered there. And we can take that off of there. These servos aren't going to be they're Futaba servos, but they're not going to be very powerful because they've only got a 4.8 volt battery attached to them. So they're not going to be the best. I reckon. Bloody hell. We take that off and we put that about there. And then we get our little bit of metal, stick that about there, and then we get our throttle linkage back. And put that about there. That's now on tick over, and that's more in the central position then. Hopefully you can see where that is. Now if we put the screw back in, just because I don't want the splines to slip and start stripping off. Right, stick that down there like that. Do that up. I don't need to turn the transmitter on, do I? What am I doing? I've got a servo tester in line. Right. Press that button. Now, that's full throttle. That's full throttle, and we do get full throttle as well. So if we now got the brakes, yeah, that pulls the brakes. and they do work. There's a lot of slop in that gearbox. So might put a little bit of fuel pipe on this part here, just so it pushes that back. But it does work. For the purposes of this, he just wants it to run, so that'll do perfectly fine. It does need a bit more TLC on it, but that'll do fine. That'll run brilliantly. Could even put a bit more fuel piping on there if I wanted to make it even better. Right, that's that done then. Now let's move over and do the steering. Right, I've got the servo tester hooked up to it. Let's take out this screw, and hopefully this will be nice and straightforward, because sometimes steering on these is a little bit dicky, you know, you have to mess around a lot, but they're not hard to do. All we've got to do is get this off the horn like that. Now we put it in the middle. Right, that now should be in the middle. We put the wheels so they're in a bit of a central place, like that looks like they're relatively straight like that. Now we put that, this is the other end of the servo saver. I know you can't really see what I'm doing, but I've got no other way of putting the camera really. Put that back on the servo like that. Actually no, it doesn't want to go like that, does it? It wants to go a bit further round. Right, that wants to go not like that, like that. That'll do the trick. Hopefully you can see. What I've done is I've put that a little bit further that way, so when I put the servo saver on, it should be fairly central. The wheels will be central when I put them on, and now we should get steering. It's in the middle because it was cocked all to one side before. Now it shouldn't be. It should be in the middle when the trim's in the middle, and then we just go adjust it however we need it. It shouldn't need much adjustment. That should be the steering sorted. I've got this screwed down the best I can without the, because what I should have is this whole plastic plate should be the same on here along with the bumper. But I think I said earlier on in this video, the person who owns this truck didn't send that with it because he didn't think I'd need it. So I can't set all this up properly without it, but I've got it screwed down, it's tight. So we should be able to get steering to work, and that's all he wants, so that'll be more than adequate. Sweet. Right, let's tighten it all up and have a look. Right, let's have a look here then. I don't generally mess with steering and all that other kind of stuff. It's not really in my interest, so let's hope that this is going to work. Alright, it's not going to be very good because the battery's not really powerful enough. So if we lift that up, left, right, yeah. Pretty much there. We put it in the middle. There's so much play in that. It's because the bloody screws came out. Where's that screw gone? Alright, let's nick the screw out of here. I don't know if there was a screw in there or not, to be honest. Maybe that's the one. Let's stick this screw back in and see what happens then. Alright, I've had one more little play with it before I'm going to leave it, because, well, I'm not going to be able to get it any better than I can get it, to be honest. So that's that. Yeah, I'd say that's alright. Centre, more or less there. There's a lot of play on this side because that screw's stripped out, but that's alright. I can only do what I can do. Let's move on to something else. So all three of the little pins that poke up that you put the R-clips through to hold this cover on, they're all snapped off. It's quite common with Savages because people get the ump, because it's not a difficult thing to do, take this cover off, but a lot of people do get the ump with it. They can't get the R-clips out, or they can't move it, or something like that, and they just end up ripping it out. And then what they do is they snap off all the little, there's three little pins that pop up, one there, and one there. And they just, when they rip the cover off, they snap the pins off. I don't know why people just haven't got more patience, but there we go, that's just the way things are. So, and because we don't really know the history of this truck, the person who gave it to me to try and get running, bought it second hand off someone else, so we don't know how many owners it's had, we don't know the history of it. It's one of them. So we're plugged in, we're turned on. Now we've got throttle, and that goes to full, and then goes back to tick over again. That's good. We've got brakes, kind of, so that's good. We've got steering. See, we've not got enough power in this 4.8 volt battery, but we've got steering now. And let's see if this reverse module works. It does. The reverse module does work. So let's have a look, see if we can see it moving. There it is there. Alright, hopefully you can see it. When I flick the switch from forward to reverse, there we go. Reverse, forwards, reverse, forwards. So that's that. We'll have to test that when we get it running, and when we go for our little test drive. Hopefully, because I've got no front bumper, hopefully with any luck these pins stay in place. I don't want these coming out while I'm trying to drive around. Really, I need the front bumper to keep them in place. Because if you have a look on one of these, my Savages here, the front bumper, and there's them pins, and you've got this little thing there that keeps them pins in. You can get little things that hold them in. I've got them, I haven't put them on yet. But you need the front bumper really. But we'll be able to get it on, we'll be able to test drive it and get the engine all right without it. So there we go, one Savage 25. I put it back together the best I can with what I've got here, with no bumper and that, and with all the stripped screws and everything that's stripped out on the front there. Let's the next time we see this, I'm going to have to do it in 2 videos because this one's getting long enough as it is. Next time we'll get it out in the car park, see how the engine is. He wants it to be tuned. Well, I'm not going to be able to tune it properly, but I'll be able to get it to a state where it's running quite nicely, I'm sure. I might have to do something with these pins because I know they're going to pop out. Stick a bit of tape or something over them and hope they just stay in place. But there we go. Nice one, you lot. Thanks for watching. If you like that kind of stuff, stick around. It's not normally what I do with all the steering and kind of things. I'm more of an engine kind of person, but we can still get things working, still get things going. I've got a couple of Will It Run videos in the pipeline, so if you like Will It Runs with nitros, stick around. You never know, you might like the ones that are turning up. Jesus Christ, I think one of them's been at the bottom of a river for about 8 years. Anyway, treat each other nicely, love life, and I'll see you on the next one. Can't wait to go and give this Savage a bit of a test run, because these 25s were the nuts, and this one's even got reverse, which is even better. So anyway, I'll see you later on.